What if the world around you isn't really around you? What if everything you see, every person you meet, every moment you live is actually a reflection of your own mind? Imagine for a second that reality itself might be a mirror, one that doesn't just show your face, but your thoughts, your beliefs, your emotions, a mirror that bends and shapes itself according to what you hold inside. Sounds mystical, right? But what if I told you there was once a scientist who spent his life trying to prove that this might actually be true? His name was Jacobo Grinberg, and his story is unlike anything you've ever heard. Grinberg wasn't some guru or self-help author. He was a neuroscientist, trained in the methods of modern science, but driven by questions far beyond it. Born in Mexico City in 1946, Jacobo was fascinated by consciousness, the mysterious link between mind and matter. He studied psychology, earned a PhD, and started conducting experiments that tried to map how our brain constructs reality. But his research began leading him somewhere that science wasn't ready to go. He started to believe that the brain doesn't just receive information from the world, it actually creates it. In other words, what we call reality might not be something that exists independently out there, but something being generated inside each of us, moment by moment. That's when he began to develop what he called the synergic theory, a bold idea suggesting that there is an underlying field of consciousness connecting everything. According to Grinberg, this field records and reflects our mental states. Whatever we think, believe, or feel gets projected into this universal field, and then it comes back to us as the world we experience. The universe, he said, doesn't simply exist. It mirrors you, but Grinberg's journey wasn't easy. His ideas challenged traditional science, and many dismissed his work as too mystical or unprovable. Still, he pressed on, running experiments that hinted at telepathy, brain synchronization, and even non-local connections between people. Some of his studies showed participants' brain waves syncing even when separated by distance, suggesting that consciousness might operate beyond the limits of time and space. As his fame grew, so did the mystery around him. He began studying with Mexican shamans, especially the legendary Maria Sabina, the Mazatec healer known for her sacred mushroom rituals. Grinberg wanted to understand how ancient wisdom connected to the science of consciousness. He believed that shamans had mastered the art of bending the mirror, shifting their perception to access higher realities. But just as his work was starting to gain attention, something strange happened. In 1994, Jacobo Grinberg suddenly disappeared, completely vanished. No signs, no trace. To this day, nobody knows what really happened to him. Some believe he was silenced. Others think he reached a state of consciousness so expanded that he simply crossed into another level of reality, one that his own theory described. And that's where the mystery deepens. In this video, we're going to explore Jacobo Grinberg's law of reflection, the idea that your inner world and the outer universe are one continuous field of energy. You'll learn how your beliefs, your emotions, and even your hidden thoughts might be shaping what you see around you every single day. By the end, you'll understand how the universe doesn't punish or reward. It simply mirrors. And that means the power to change your life doesn't start out there. It starts within you. So stay till the end, because once you see how this mirror truly works, you'll never look at your reality the same way again. Welcome to Awakened Synchronicity, where science meets spirit and consciousness becomes the key to transformation. If you're ready to wake up to the deeper truth of reality, make sure to subscribe and join us as we explore how your mind and the universe are more connected than you ever imagined. Before we talk about how the universe mirrors you, we first need to understand what Jacobo Grinberg actually believed about reality itself. He called it the synergic theory, and at the heart of this theory lies one radical idea. There exists a lattice of consciousness, an invisible field that connects every mind, every atom, every event in the universe. According to Grinberg, this field isn't made of matter. It's made of pure information, a kind of living web that contains all possible experiences, thoughts and patterns. It's everywhere, all the time, but we don't perceive it directly. Instead, our brain acts like a filter, shaping what parts of this infinite field we can actually see. In simple words, he believed that what we call reality is not something that happens to us, it's something that happens through us. Your mind doesn't just observe the world, it constructs it from the field. Grinberg compared this process to tuning a radio. The universe is like a vast sea of frequencies, endless signals vibrating all around us. But your brain, shaped by your beliefs, memories and emotions, only tunes into specific stations. What you call my reality is simply the signal your consciousness has selected from the universal field. Think about that for a second. Two people can live the same event, yet experience it in completely different ways. One sees opportunity, another sees disaster. One feels love, another feels rejection. Nothing outside changed, only the internal perception did. And that's the essence of Grinberg's lattice. The outer world bends itself to match the frequency of your inner world. He proposed that our neural patterns, the way our brain cells fire, interact with this consciousness field. Every thought, every image, every emotion sends a unique vibration into the lattice. When your brain emits a coherent signal, the lattice reflects it back, turning that vibration into the physical reality you perceive. It's as if the universe is a hologram, and your consciousness is the light that projects the image. The clearer your inner light, the clearer your outer world becomes. To Grinberg, this wasn't just philosophy. He tried to prove it. In his lab, he conducted experiments where two people would meditate together until their brain waves synchronized. Then, when one was shown an image, the other in a separate room displayed similar brain activity patterns. It was as if their minds were still connected through this invisible lattice. He believed this was evidence that consciousness isn't confined to our brains. It flows through a shared field, linking all minds beyond time and space. And if that's true, then every single thought, emotion and intention we hold doesn't just stay inside us, it ripples out into this field, shaping how reality responds. This is why Jacobo often said that attention is the most powerful tool of creation. Whatever you give your focus to, you strengthen in the lattice. Focus on fear, and you strengthen fear. Focus on love, and the field begins to mirror love back to you. He also believed that our perception of separation, the idea that we're isolated beings, is the biggest illusion of all. The lattice connects everything. The boundary between me and the world is only a mental line drawn by our brain to organize experience. Remove that line, and suddenly, the mirror between you and the universe disappears. What's left is unity, a single, living consciousness expressing itself in infinite forms. Grinberg said this lattice was not just scientific, it was sacred. To understand it is to realize that your life is not random, not mechanical, not meaningless. You are not a bystander in the universe, you are a participant in its creation. And every perception, every emotion, every belief you hold right now is shaping the field moment by moment, weaving the pattern that becomes your world. When Jacobo Grinberg spoke about the law of reflection, he wasn't talking about magic, luck, or coincidence. He was describing a deep psychological and energetic law, a mirror effect between your inner world and the outer universe. In his view, the reality you see every day isn't random. It's a reflection of the thoughts, emotions, and beliefs you carry within yourself. Before we can see this clearly, we have to change how we think about reality. We've been taught that the world exists independently of us, that events just happen and we simply react. But Grinberg believed that perception is not passive, it's creative. Every moment, our consciousness interacts with the universal lattice, and the universe reflects back whatever frequency we emit through our beliefs and emotions. So, when we say the universe mirrors you, it means this. The world is not responding to what you want, it's responding to what you are. It reflects your vibration, your energy, your dominant patterns of thought. If, deep down, you believe that life is unfair, your experience will continually bring you proof that life is unfair. If you hold the belief that you're supported and guided, you'll begin noticing people, chances, and moments that prove exactly that. Grinberg explained that our beliefs act like filters. They don't just shape how we interpret events, they shape the very kind of events that show up in our perception. Each belief sends a specific frequency into the lattice, and that frequency attracts experiences of the same vibration. In his words, consciousness does not perceive the world, it creates the world through perception. That's where identity comes in. Your self-image, the story you tell yourself about who you are, becomes the central code that the universe mirrors back to you. If your internal story says, "I'm not enough," the mirror shows a world full of rejection and limitation. If your story says, "I am powerful, connected, and worthy," the mirror reshapes itself to fit that identity. Imagine two people walking into the same room. One walks in with quiet confidence, open energy, and self-acceptance. The other walks in feeling small, invisible, and doubtful. The same room, the same people, but two entirely different realities unfold. One attracts smiles and conversations, the other feels ignored. Nothing mystical happened. It's simply the mirror responding to their inner frequency. This is why Grinberg said that reality is plastic. It molds itself around your consciousness. Your mind isn't sitting inside the world, it's woven into the field that generates the world. Change your vibration and the field reorganizes itself. Let's take a few simple examples. A person who constantly fears losing money will subconsciously act in ways that keep them in scarcity. They might miss opportunities, distrust people who offer help, or avoid taking healthy risks. The mirror, the universe, faithfully reflects that vibration of fear by creating situations that confirm it. But another person, with a sense of inner abundance, naturally expects things to flow. They notice chances to grow, feel guided even through uncertainty, and attract others who resonate with generosity. The field reflects that belief too. It's not about positive thinking, it's about energetic resonance. The universe isn't judging who's right or wrong, it's simply mirroring what's most active within you. Grinberg compared this process to a hologram. In a hologram, every tiny part of the image contains the entire picture. Change one section and the whole image shifts. In the same way, when your internal pattern, your mental and emotional frequency changes, the entire projection of your reality begins to rearrange. This is why people often experience repeating life patterns. When you carry an unconscious belief, the field keeps reflecting it until you become aware of it and change it. That's why you might see the same kind of relationship again and again, or attract similar challenges in different forms. The mirror doesn't stop showing what's inside until what's inside evolves. Grinberg's research also connected this to how attention works. He said, attention is like a flashlight in the dark. Wherever you direct it, energy flows, and the field amplifies that frequency. If you keep focusing on lack, you're feeding that signal into the lattice. The universe doesn't question why, it simply reflects it. But when you shift your attention toward possibility, gratitude, or self-worth, your energy pattern shifts and new outcomes start forming. In modern psychology, we call this selective perception, the brain's tendency to notice what matches your expectations. But Grinberg extended it further. He said attention doesn't just notice reality, it modifies it. When you place conscious focus on something, you synchronize your inner field with that vibration. The universal lattice then resonates with it, echoing it back into your experience. It's like two tuning forks. Strike one, and the other starts vibrating to the same tone. Your consciousness is one fork, the universe is the other. Whatever you vibrate with internally, the universe vibrates back in response. This resonance can be seen in everyday life. When someone carries resentment, they seem to attract conflict everywhere they go. When someone radiates peace, they move through life with ease. not because the world's changed, but because the field around them mirrors their coherence. Grinberg believed that our emotions are not private, they are frequencies broadcast into the shared field. When many people hold the same emotional pattern like fear, anger, or hope, it creates ripples in the collective lattice. This is why collective consciousness has power. When enough people tune into compassion, the entire field around them begins to harmonize. He used the term synergy to describe this connection, a merging of synergy and synthesis. The synergic field is a living mirror, constantly adjusting to the consciousness it interacts with. It holds every possibility, but the observer's mind chooses which version of reality becomes visible. One powerful example can be seen in self-fulfilling prophecies. Imagine a person who believes they always meet dishonest people. That belief, reinforced through emotion, becomes a command to the field. The person's perception filters out trustworthy behavior and highlights deception instead. They unconsciously attract or interpret events that match their inner expectation, and the cycle repeats. But if that person starts to shift their self-image, affirming, "I attract honesty and respect because I embody it," the vibration changes. Slowly, the field begins to respond differently. They start noticing trustworthy people, or they feel drawn to new environments. The mirror reconfigures. Grinberg would say this is not coincidence. It's consciousness interacting with the field. The universe doesn't speak in words, it speaks in frequency. Your emotions are the language. Let's take another example. Fear of rejection. When someone fears being unwanted, they often hold back from expressing themselves. They speak less, hide their true thoughts, avoid eye contact. The field around them mirrors this contraction. By creating distance, others feel it and respond in kind. But the moment that person accepts themselves, their energy opens, their attention shifts from fear to authenticity, and suddenly others respond with warmth. The mirror softens. Grinberg believed that even physical health follows this law. The body is a dense reflection of consciousness. Chronic stress, guilt, or anger distort the energetic lattice around the body, leading to imbalance. Peace, gratitude, and joy restore coherence, allowing the body to heal. Everything, he said, begins with perception. And perception isn't a lens, it's a generator. When you change how you perceive, you don't just see differently, you enter a different world altogether. He described this shift using the word resonance. Each human being resonates with certain patterns of energy. When your resonance is low, dominated by fear or separation, you align with experiences that confirm that frequency. When your resonance rises through awareness, compassion, or expanded consciousness, you connect with higher patterns of the field. It's like moving through parallel layers of reality. The external world may look the same, but the quality of your experiences transforms completely. To demonstrate this, Grinberg conducted meditative studies showing that brainwave coherence, when both hemispheres of the brain operate in harmony, increased feelings of unity and altered perception. Participants described the world around them as more vivid, more alive, as if the mirror had become clearer. He believed this coherence allowed the mind to resonate more directly with the synergic field. In that state, manifestation becomes natural, not as wishful thinking, but as energetic alignment. You no longer fight the mirror, you dance with it. According to Grinberg, attention, power, emotion, creation. Where your attention goes, your energy flows. And whatever emotion you attach to that attention becomes the vibration the lattice mirrors back. So if your focus is on love, and your feeling is gratitude, the mirror amplifies those frequencies through experiences that match them. If your focus is on fear, and your feeling is worry, the mirror does the same. The universe doesn't decide what's good or bad, it simply echoes your signal. He once said, "The external world is the visible side of your inner configuration." That means every event, pleasant or painful, is feedback from the field, not punishment, not fate, but a reflection showing you what vibration you're radiating. When you understand this, life stops feeling like a series of random ups and downs. You begin to see a pattern, a relationship between your internal world and external reality. Every reaction, every emotion becomes a clue about the signal you're sending into the lattice. And that's what Grinberg wanted humanity to realize. The universe is not something outside of you to be controlled or feared. It's a living, conscious mirror responding to the state of your awareness. When your mind changes, the reflection follows, as naturally as a mirror returning your smile. If the universe truly mirrors you, then changing your life begins with changing the reflection you project into it. Jacobo Grinberg believed that transformation wasn't about forcing external circumstances, but about adjusting the internal state that creates those circumstances. He said the world outside is like a holographic echo of your inner configuration. When the inner pattern shifts, the outer world eventually follows. So how do you change the mirror? The first step, according to Grinberg, is awareness. You can't transform what you can't see. Most people live reacting to life, blaming others, luck or fate, without realizing that these external events are messages from their own consciousness. Awareness begins when you pause long enough to observe your inner world. Notice the thoughts running in the background. Listen to the quiet assumptions you make about life, about people, about yourself. You might discover that beneath your surface desires lies a deeper vibration, perhaps fear of failure, feelings of unworthiness, or hidden guilt. These emotions shape the image you send into the field. Grinberg said, consciousness reflects itself through experience. That means what you resist keeps reappearing, not as punishment but as feedback asking to be recognized. The moment you become aware, the mirror starts to loosen. Awareness is light, and light changes the reflection. When you observe your patterns without judgment, you interrupt their automatic repetition. That's when a new possibility opens. The next step is shifting belief and identity. Your beliefs are not just ideas. They are energetic codes that instruct the lattice on what version of reality to project. If you've spent years believing that life is a struggle, that belief has carved grooves in your neural pathways and in your energetic field. Changing it isn't about repeating empty affirmations, it's about generating a new internal frequency strong enough to overwrite the old one. Grinberg believed that identity is the most powerful vibration of all. It's the story your consciousness tells about itself. The universe mirrors not what you wish for, but who you believe you are. When you truly shift your sense of identity, when you begin to feel and act as the person who already lives in alignment with abundance, love, or peace, the lattice must adjust. The mirror has no choice but to reflect the new configuration. He suggested beginning this shift gently, through imaginative embodiment. Close your eyes and imagine yourself as the version of you that already lives the life you desire. Don't just picture it, feel it. Notice how that version of you stands, breathes, and thinks. Let that energy sink into your nervous system. The more vividly you feel it, the more real it becomes within the field. At first, your mind will resist. The old identity will whisper that it's impossible, that nothing will change, that resistance is just the echo of the old vibration. Grinberg would say, don't fight it, observe it. By observing, you disarm it. Slowly, the new vibration grows stronger, and the mirror begins to adjust. The third step is redirecting attention and perception. Attention is like the steering wheel of consciousness. Wherever it turns, the flow of energy follows. If you keep feeding attention into fear, lack, or resentment, you reinforce those patterns. But if you intentionally direct attention toward gratitude, curiosity, and love, not as fake positivity, but as chosen focus, your frequency shifts. Grinberg taught that perception is creative. What you consistently perceive becomes stabilized in the lattice. That's why gratitude has such transformative power. When you look for small things to appreciate, you train your brain to tune into harmony. The mirror responds, amplifying that signal until more experiences of harmony appear. He often said that seeing differently is the same as living differently. When you perceive from fear, the world looks dangerous. When you perceive from trust, the same world reveals beauty. The external scene may not change overnight, but the emotional tone, the opportunities, the synchronicities begin to rearrange themselves around your new state. After awareness, belief shifting, and attention, come embodied action. Grinberg warned that changing the mirror doesn't mean abandoning real-world effort. It means aligning action with the new vibration. Behave as if the new identity is already true. If you're working on abundance, act with generosity and responsibility. If you're aligning with confidence, speak your truth even when it trembles. The mirror amplifies consistency. What you repeatedly express becomes stabilized as your external world. He described this as participating consciously in creation. You still act, but your action arises from coherence rather than fear. That coherence makes your movements more effective because the field supports what matches your inner signal. To integrate these steps, Grinberg suggested a daily practice of observation and tuning. Spend a few quiet moments each day in silence. Feel your body. Notice any tension. Those are signals of emotional resistance. Ask yourself gently, what belief is creating this feeling? Then, without judgment, imagine that tension dissolving into light. Replace it with a new inner statement that feels peaceful and true. Let that vibration fill your chest and expand outward. Next, visualize the lattice, an invisible web connecting you to everything. See your thoughts as ripples spreading through that web. Choose consciously what frequency you want to send. Gratitude, joy, calmness. Whatever matches the life you want mirrored back. Then through the day, stay aware of how life responds. Each encounter, each event becomes feedback from the field. If something unpleasant happens, don't rush to blame or react. Ask yourself, what part of me is this reflecting? Not from guilt, but from curiosity. Every situation becomes a mirror lesson, guiding you closer to alignment. Over time, this practice builds a new inner stability. You start noticing synchronicities, coincidences that feel meaningful, as if the field is communicating with you. You sense the mirror adjusting in real time. Small events start matching your inner changes. The more consistent your state, the clearer the reflection becomes. But Grinberg also warned against the pitfalls that can trap seekers on this path. One of the biggest mistakes is expecting instant results. The mirror doesn't flip like a switch. It has momentum. Old beliefs and emotions have energy stored in them, and that energy takes time to dissolve. The universe mirrors your dominant vibration, not your temporary wish. So if you meditate in peace for 5 minutes but spend the rest of the day worrying, the mirror still reflects the worry. Another trap is confusing spiritual alignment with denial. Shifting internally doesn't mean ignoring pain, pretending everything is fine, or avoiding responsibility. Grinberg was clear, transformation is not about escaping reality, but changing your relationship with it. You acknowledge what is, but you no longer identify with it as permanent truth. You view challenges as reflections calling for inner adjustment, not as punishments to fear. He also reminded his students that the mirror includes action. You can't just visualize a better world, you must live it. Consciousness interacts with matter through behavior. The field mirrors the total of your being, thought, emotion, and action combined. Sitting in meditation while living in contradiction weakens the signal. Integrity strengthens it. And then there is the caution of ego inflation. As people start understanding that their consciousness shapes reality, some fall into the illusion of omnipotence, believing they can control everything, or that others are merely characters in their projection. Grinberg warned that this mindset closes the heart. The mirror becomes distorted by arrogance. He emphasized humility. The field is not yours to dominate, it's a shared consciousness. You influence it through alignment, not control. Finally, Grinberg acknowledged the scientific uncertainty around his theories. He was a trained neuroscientist who tried to bridge rigorous study with spiritual insight. His experiments on brain synchronization and non-local communication were fascinating, but they didn't reach mainstream scientific acceptance. The evidence was intriguing, yet not conclusive. He often said that his theories should inspire exploration, not blind belief. The lattice, the mirror, the resonance. These are models, metaphors, pointing toward a deeper mystery that science has yet to fully grasp. He wanted people to approach his ideas with open curiosity, to test them through personal experience rather than dogma. And maybe that's the real power of his work. Whether or not science has proven the lattice, each of us can verify a simple truth. When our inner world changes, the quality of our outer experience shifts. When we carry peace, peace meets us. When we hold resentment, resentment finds us. The mirror works, not as a fantasy, but as a profound psychological and energetic principle. Grinberg's message was that transformation begins quietly. In observation, in the moment you notice your reactions and choose awareness instead of habit. The field doesn't demand perfection. It responds to authenticity. The more sincerely you align your thoughts, feelings, and actions, the more coherent the mirror becomes. In this way, life stops feeling random. It becomes a dialogue, a constant conversation between you and the field of consciousness that surrounds and includes you. Each reflection is an opportunity to refine your signal, to return to alignment, to remember that you and the universe are not separate. The mirror is alive, and it's listening. So, what Jacobo Grinberg teaches us is simple, yet profound. Your outer world is never separate from you. You are both the observer and the actor. The mirror and what's mirrored. Every thought, every emotion, every belief sends ripples into the universe, and the universe faithfully reflects them back. If you want your life to change, start by looking inward. Observe your inner patterns, shift your beliefs, align your attention, and embody the version of yourself you wish to see. As your inner state transforms, you'll begin noticing that the world around you starts to change too, not by chance, but as a direct reflection of your consciousness. If you found this insight powerful, make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Awaken Synchronicity so you don't miss any lessons on consciousness, transformation, and the fascinating ways your mind shapes your reality.